Good morning and coffee cheers to hump day, Wednesday, midweek. It's going to be exciting. Hope you guys are having a great week. Hope you guys have some coffee, whether you're getting ready for work or driving back from the gym. Cough, cough, Jade. I really did cough. Or you're getting ready for school. Or maybe you're just chilling in bed and you got on just for this. I hope so. But I hope you get up and have some coffee. Or maybe you're watching this in the afternoon and you should still have coffee. Because coffee, any time of the day. Okay. Today, guys, I'm way more prepared for this coffee shop talk. Let me tell you. I even got whiteboards going on and everything. Okay. Well, last week I was doing my Food Struggles 101 training. So if you guys were in that, good job. It was so awesome to see everyone being so open. We had homework every day and people were replying to the homework and answering back with the emails and really taking a look at what their food situation was like and what they were struggling with. And basically, bottom line, what we were getting down to was our habits. And why I'm talking about that is because I also was getting emails last week, and one of the most frequently questions that most people approach me with is just, where do I start? So where do I start in the kitchen, or where do I start in the gym? People just want to, they don't know the first steps to take on working towards achieving their goals, whether it's just entering into a new healthy lifestyle or starting something new or getting better. Just that first step of where do I start? And it's something frequently brought up. And so that's what I'm going to cover today. That's what we're going to talk about, because it's very apparent. And what it comes down to, whether it's for the gym or for the kitchen, is habits. That's what it comes down to. And so really it's learning about how to establish new positive habits for ourselves so that we can get success in whatever we are trying to achieve. So when I get people that say, if they reach out and their main focus might be the gym, they say, where do I start in the gym? I don't know what workouts to start with. What do I need to do? What do I need to lift? What exercises do I need to do? All this. So that is actually why I had made my movement mastery roadmap over summer, I think it was over summer. And I'll put that link on here if you guys want to get it. But because it is such a frequently asked question and also approach, that's why I made this roadmap. And so it is where essentially like trying to teach where you would start with in the gym or trying to start in the weight room, specifically with weights. So I will attach that link if you guys want it. Movement Mastery Roadmap. And it has 4 workouts on it. So depending on where you're at, if you've lifted weights before, if you've never lifted weights before, there's options on there. But really, the point of me making that was to answer that question of where you start with in the gym, to give you an idea of how to put workouts together, to give you an idea so you're not just going into a gym and if they have machines, like going in a circle and doing that, or just doing all the machines that you see in a gym. Because first of all, depending on what order those machines are laid out, or depending on even what machines a certain gym might have, you might be missing out on some critical movements, which is where we should start with our workouts, is different movement patterns. So that's why I made this Movement Mastery Roadmap. I'll attach that. But that goes into us starting to talk about where we start in the gym and where we start in the kitchen. So first thing is, after you're asking yourself that question, is you set your goal. You have an idea of what you're wanting. So if people are asking that and it's in regards to the gym, they usually know that they want to incorporate weightlifting. They just don't know where to start, but they know they want to do something with weights. So after that, if it's someone who's reaching out to me to be like a one-on-one client, or even someone just asking, you have to, in order to know the first baby steps you need to take, you have to know where you're starting at, because that's going to be completely, not everyone, if someone comes to me and they're like, where do I start? And it's with the gym, my answer is not going to be the same for everyone, because it depends on where you're starting at. Do you have previous lifting experience? Do you have any injuries? And also, what are you working towards? What are your goals? Is this just for health reasons? Is this for something specific? What are your interests? I mean, that all of these things tie into reaching taking our first baby steps. So you ask yourself, where do you start? And I have my little breakdown over here. Goal. What is your goal? Are you trying to lose weight? Is this just to start new healthy habits? Do you want to look toned? And I use that word, but I don't use that word. Do you want to look muscularly defined? Then you got to know where we are. So where are you starting? Do you, like I said, do you have previous experience? Do you have a gym membership? Have you ever picked up weights? Have you never picked up weights? Did you used to be an athlete? All of that. We don't know where to move forward to. We don't know those first steps that we need to take if we don't know where we're starting at. So asking yourself where I'm at right now. And then that will help us get our plan that we need on top of each individual baby steps that we are going to take to achieve this goal. So that's kind of my laid out process of answering the question and helping people figure out, like, where do I start? So if it's where do I start in the kitchen, it's okay, well, are you living in the dorms or do you have your own kitchen? I was just talking to someone the other day and they were asking about eating stuff and they were just like, I need help eating. I said, okay, well, are you eating in the calf? Because that's going to have an effect. Obviously, it's going to be different than if you have your own kitchen and you're cooking. So again, knowing where you're starting at, do you have a calf meal to work with? Or do you have a kitchen to work with? Because those, our plan and baby steps are going to be different depending on where you're starting at. Take a drink of coffee. Unless you're driving. Ooh. And anytime we are starting something new, it is so critical. And why I have baby steps right here, because it is baby steps. Whether you are changing up your workout routine, starting a workout routine, starting to try to cook, to eat differently, to change anything, baby steps. And that is how we build our habits, because whether it's healthy lifestyle is built on positive habits. A healthy lifestyle is not this pretty picture plate of this kind of workout, this kind of eating, one way fits all. Healthy lifestyle equals positive habits that work for you. And I think last week was when I covered, maybe it was in my food struggles, just talking about how fitness is individual. This was Monday, someone asked me, they were for a nutrition class, they had to interview someone, and so they asked me these 4 questions, and the last question was, what would you tell or what do you think is the most important thing about nutrition, or what would you tell someone that's like most critical about nutrition, something like that. And I said that nutrition, and this goes for working out too, fitness is not a one size fits all. It's not a one way to eat, a one way to work out. It's completely individual and based upon that person and their lifestyle and their preferences, their allergies, like their goals, where they're starting at. Like, none of it is one way fits all. It's completely individual. So same thing goes with if you're wanting to start anything. Depends on you, which is why I never give someone there's never a one quick cut easy answer, because we got to go through this process. And why the habits are so important, because we're humans and change is hard, and if you try and do too much at once, you'll get overwhelmed and you'll be like, F it, I'm not doing any of it. Or what happens is you get overwhelmed, you get stressed out, you get confused, and then you go back to your old habits. You go back to however you're living right now, your day-to-day stuff, what you're doing on the regular. Those are your habits that you're living. You're living from your place of habits. So when you try and change stuff, if you don't go about it in a baby step kind of way, then whenever you stop doing whatever you're trying to do, you go back to your old way, which is your habits. So all we're manipulating habits here. And we do that in baby steps. My little acronym that I'm playing with, y'all might help me, because I'm trying to figure out the best words to use for this. And I know you can't see it that well, but I have habits written out. So I'm saying it's helping. Here's where I need help with these word choice. Habits is helping adopt. Baby steps in timely success, or helping accomplish baby steps in timely success. Because that's what it is. That's how we acquire change in our lifestyle and our eating and our working out, is through our habits. And you do that with baby steps in a timely way so that you can succeed in reaching your goals. And this is human nature stuff. This isn't just me talking out of nowhere. I've done a lot of studying on habits too, because the more you dive down into the fitness knowledge hole, you come across mental health and how important the mindset is. Remember last week we talked about the triangle, so you got health, nutrition, mindset, it all goes together. And then habits lifts up this triangle that we have going on. So habits is the bottom of all of that. So I've done studying on habits too. And human nature will get overwhelmed if we're trying to do too much stuff at once. So you got to have your baby steps and get your small wins as you go. And then you add on top of that. You don't want to do too much at once. So when someone says, where do I start with eating? I'll say, drink more water, eat protein with every meal, and eat more veggies. And I just say more. I don't give them an amount. I say more because it depends on where we're at and where we're starting. So if someone that hasn't eaten a veggie since they've lived at home with their mom and it's been like 4 years, well, eat a couple green beans at dinner, like 2 bites, right? It's not that we're trying to be perfect right away, and it's not that we're trying to do it so specifically right off the bat. We're just trying to do what we can do so that we'll continue that and grow from it and be able to make it a part of our lifestyle. So same thing with working out. If you don't have a gym membership, I'm not going to say, well, go get a gym membership right off the bat. If you're used to not even leaving your house to go do anything active, I'm going to say, okay, well, how about we start with skip one of your TV shows out of your 10 that you watch in the evening and go for a walk. Especially if you have dogs, take your dogs for a walk before you spend and commit to like a monthly gym membership, because that's a lot of change at once. Not only are you going to have to, if you're used to just spending your entire evening on the couch watching TV, not only are you going to have to try and get up and then drive to the gym and then do a workout routine, that's a lot. So before you commit to something, if you're here, before you commit to here, go here, a baby step. So go for a walk around the park. A few years ago, this was after college, like 2015, I don't know. I was already waking up early. I think I had started waking up early. But then I tried to do, I don't know what I was trying to do. I was trying to do way too much at once. So I had decided I wasn't happy with my workout routine because I had a full-time job, and so I wasn't getting workouts in at a regular time or consistent or anything, and I wanted to work out more than what I was. And I realized the only time that was best for me to work out was really freaking early in the morning, like 5 o'clock, 5:30, going to the gym to work out, which I was starting to get used to waking up that early, but not going and lifting and doing all this stuff. On top of that, I was like, I'm going to drink a cup of V8 every morning because I don't eat enough vegetables. So I'm going to get it in with this V8 every morning. On top of that, I'm going to start taking fish oil and a women's health vitamin and a list of like 10 other vitamins. And then on top of that, my list was like 20 things on. I had it written down in this notebook on my counter. So I would just remember these 20 things that I was just all of a sudden going to start on Monday, going from wherever I was at to adding on 20 things that I wanted to start at one time. And I did it for 3 weeks, and then I didn't do any of it. I stopped completely doing all of it because that was so much work. It's so much work to consciously change and make yourself try and do one new thing, let alone a list of 20. So whenever you are asking, where do I start? If you're wanting to start with something gym, if you're wanting to start with eating, or maybe it is even just like a healthy, just overall under the umbrella of getting healthier, where do I start? Figure out where you're at. Where are you at right now? Do you live a completely sedentary life, or did you just get done playing a sport? So you're used to having physical activity in your life. Look at what your current eating is at before you know which plan of action to take and which baby steps to start with, because all of this is coming back to habits that we are trying to create so that we're not having to consciously think of these changes and these new things that we are wanting to start and instill. So another example is, and I was having this conversation with someone the other day too, they're like, do you always get up early? Have you always woken up early? And no, I have not. And I was definitely a person that was like, I'm not a morning person. I'm not a morning person. I feel no need to get up early. This is me speaking in college. And blah, blah, blah. That was my story. And then I don't know when it changed. I think it was when I moved in with Jared, and one of the only times I could see him was at the butt crack dawn of 5 o'clock, because we were both really busy and I had a full-time job and blah, blah, blah. So that was my motive behind getting up early. So he would wake up at like 4:30, 4:45. And if you think that's early, nowadays he wakes up at 4. Crazy. So I started getting up with him, and then he'd go about and do whatever, shower, do his morning stuff. And then I would like make him breakfast. I'd get the coffee going and whatnot. And it was rough the first couple of days. But if you were to look at my morning routine now, which is like a list of 20 things, I did not start out that way. So I started out with, first, it's like, I'm just going to get up. I'm just going to wake up. I'm going to get out of bed. I'm going to make him breakfast. So I'm doing something, and, you know, we get to eat breakfast together. Yay. And then I don't know why or when, I think I was reading a book, and I decided that I was just going to become a morning person. I was going to start getting up early, and I wasn't going to go back to sleep even after he left for work. So after a few times, because at first it did start, I would get up, I would make him breakfast, he'd leave, I'd go back to bed. It's like I literally got out of bed at 5 o'clock just so I could eat 2 eggs with you, and I'm going back to sleep. And I did that for a while. So there's my first baby step. And then after that, again, I think I was reading a book, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start getting up early, because all these successful people and all these happy people and all these healthy people get up early. So I'm going to see what this life is all about. And so then I started adding on to, I'd get up, I'd make breakfast, and then I'd read. And I did that for a while. And then I started noticing I would get tired after a certain amount of time. So then I'd get up, I'd make sure to get up out of bed, off the couch, and I would clean at 6 in the morning, just so that I wouldn't go back to bed. So I was like physically doing something, and it made me feel good, because then the house would be all put together and I wouldn't have to do dishes at lunchtime and whatever. And then, and when I say then, I do each of these things for a few weeks. Okay, so here's my baby steps: getting up early, making breakfast. Then I'd go back to sleep. After a few weeks, I'd get up early and I'd read. After a few weeks, I'd get up early, I'd read. And then once I start to get tired, I'd get up and I'd clean instead of going back to sleep once I would get tired. So this is weeks at a time. I'm doing one thing, and then one thing, and then one thing, and then one thing. And that was probably 2 years ago. So now, after doing one thing, in these baby steps, doing it for weeks at a time, making it a habit, getting used to it, now I get up, I do my mobility, 5-minute yoga flow, thanks to Nagarth and Nooni. Have a 5-minute, like 29 different options of 5-minute yoga flows I go through. Hit some mobility moves that are my favorite. And then I will journal. And in my journal, I have my own system of journaling that I've figured out through trial and error, what I like the best and what helps me out. And then I will read. And then once I get tired, I will get up and I will go on a walk around the neighborhood. Except for when it's starting to get really cold like this. I'm going to do something else because I don't like the cold. So that is my morning routine now. But that took years. Because at first I had to even get used to getting up early. So that whole long story just to show you the process of starting a new habit. Because me waking up early is just a habit now that I've instilled. But it was through helping adopt, helping adopt baby steps and timely success. And timely does not mean short. It just means that you do one thing, do it for a few weeks, you're adopting that in, and then you do another thing, add one more thing, do it for a few weeks, adopt that in. So for eating, my 3 most basic starting points to tell anyone on where they ask, where do I start, no matter what their goal is, I will say drink more water, eat protein with every meal, and eat more veggies. More being the key, except for protein. Get that in with every meal. Eggs every day for breakfast, unless you're allergic. Mom, I'm sorry. Lunch, you can do tuna, you can do chicken, you can do a million things. Dinner, salmon, my favorite. More chicken, more protein. So protein with every meal. And then other than that, veggies. If you're not used to eating any veggies, start with 5 green beans. If you're used to eating veggies every night for dinner, add it in with lunch or breakfast. I think breakfast is easier than lunch because for breakfast, you can do egg scrambles. Yummy. Which is whether you're just scrambling up eggs and throwing spinach in there, or in an omelet, or a million ways to do egg scrambles just with some spinach in there. And then smoothies, you can put them in smoothies. So those are my top ways to get greens in with breakfast, but I think that's easier than lunch. So again, just depending on where do I start? You want to eat healthy? What is your goal? You want to have a healthy lifestyle? My 3 things to start with would be drink more water, get protein with every meal, eat more veggies. So if you're trying to look at how do I eat more veggies? Well, where are you starting at? Are you going from 0 veggies? Okay, well, eat a green bean. Are you going from veggies every night for dinner? Okay, add a salad to lunch. Get your plan and take baby steps. Baby steps is the key word. So no matter what you're wanting to start, even if you are used to, this goes for me too. If I want to start or change anything, I do just this. I figure out what my goal is, where I'm starting at, and then I get my plan of baby steps to take. This isn't a matter of if you are, don't live a healthy lifestyle or you're not used to doing anything remotely with activity in the gym or eating. This is for anyone. If you want to change anything, if you're sitting there asking yourself, where do I start? How do I change this? It is with baby steps, and it's creating habits. So helping adopt baby steps and timely success so that you will add on to it. It'll become a part of your lifestyle. It won't take your conscious effort to think about it because you've done one thing at a time. You've brought that into your whole world. It's just a part of how you brush your teeth, and you don't have to think about it. And then you add on something else. So if you're asking yourself, where do I start? Whether it's in the gym or the kitchen, just remember this. What's your goal? Where are you right now so that you can get your plan and baby steps to take so that they become habits and a part of your life. And if you're not waking up early, you totally should, because it's one of the greatest things besides reading, and they go hand in hand, and besides coffee, guys, coffee. Wake up early, drink your coffee, and read a good book. How about that? All right. Thanks, guys, for jumping on. Oh, Kelsey, you love waking up in the mornings now, right? Especially because you're sitting there getting your miles of running in. Whew. Man, I love when you send me your morning Snapchats. Those are my favorite because they pretty much make my day every day because I definitely laugh out loud. So keep sending them to me. All right, guys. Thanks for jumping on. Hope you got home safe, Jade. Thanks for jumping on, Kelsey. Have a good day at school with your kinder babies. And I will see you guys next Wednesday. I will put my link for the Movement Mastery Guide in here if you have not gotten that and you're wondering where to start in the gym. And whatever you guys want to talk about next week, comment on here, slide into my DMs, message me, hit me up on anything, and we will talk. So coffee cheers for your Wednesday hump day, and I will see y'all next Wednesday at 7.